In medieval Spain, payyees were a form of tribute paid by the taifas of al-Andalus to the Christian kingdoms of the north. Payyees dominated relations between the Islamic and the Christian states in the years following the disintegration of the Caliphate of Córdoba until the reunification of Islamic Spain under the Almoravid dynasty. The payyees were a form of protection money established by treaty. The payee, the tributary military protection against foes both Islamic and Christian. Usually the original exaction was forced, either by a large razzia of the threat of one, or as the cost of supporting one Islamic party against another. History. The earliest evidence of payyees pertains to eastern Spain, to the Kingdom of Aragon and the County of Barcelona, which exacted a very early one, called the north.Parias or old-Parias, from the taifa of Zaragoza. While payyees may have been paid by the local Muslim leaders just west of the Llobregat after Raymond Borrell's razzia on Córdoba in 1010, the earliest payee that can be dated was collected by Raymond Berenguer I of Barcelona from Lleida and Zaragoza after his attack on those territories in 1045. In the 1060s he was still demanding payyees from Lleida and Zaragoza, as well as the taifa of Tortosa. The Aragonese king Sancho Ramirez also took payyees from the king of Zaragoza's underlings at Huesca and Tudela. In western Spain the first ruler to exact such tribute was Ferdinand I of Leon and Castile. From at least 1060, perhaps as early as 1055, Ferdinand had been exacting payyees from the taifas of Seville, Toledo, and Zaragoza, and possibly also Badajoz and Valencia. In accordance with his testament, Ferdinand's payyees were divided amongst his heirs along with his kingdom in December 1065. The eldest son, Sancho II, received Castile with the north.Parias. The second son, Alfonso VI, received Leon with the payyees of Toledo, and the third son, Garcia II, received Galicia with the payyees of Badajoz and Seville. Eventually all the tribute found its way into the hands of Alfonso VI, who also exacted payyees from Granada. Valencia fell into the hands of Rodrigo Diaz de Viva, and upon recovery by the Muslims it was forced to briefly pay payyees to Barcelona, payments which were later re-established by Raymond Berenguer IV. These payyees were still being collected in the reign of James I the Conqueror, who put an end to them by conquering Valencia. Much of the wealth acquired through payyees was distributed to cathedrals and monasteries, while some found its way back to the aristocracy. Sometime between 1053 and 1065 Ferdinand of Leon pledged an annual census of 1,000 aurei for the Abbey of Cluny, a donation re-established by Alfonso VI in 1077 and then increased to 2,000 aurei in 1090 by this same monarch. This, known as the Alphonsine census, was the biggest donation that Cluny ever received from King Alayman, and it was never to be surpassed. The large payments to Cluny, which financed Hugh the Great's construction of the massive Third Abbey Church, undoubtedly helped publish the wealth of Spain throughout Europe. Unfortunately for Cluny, changing conditions in Spain caused the payments to cease in 1111, and this brought on a financial crisis during the abbacies of Pons of Melguil and Peter the Venerable. By 1100 the payyees had decreased to a mere trickle. Only in 1246, when the Kingdom of Granada, the last remaining Islamic state in Spain, agreed to pay half its annual revenue in payyees to Castile, did tribute again constitute a major portion of Christian Spain's wealth, though the burden of these last payyees was sometimes reduced to a quarter or a fifth of state revenue. The Grenadine kings were forced to tax the subjects far beyond what was permissible under Islamic law. Amounts. Pariahs were generally paid in gold coin, usually Islamic dinars or mithqals, accompanied by gifts of carpets, silks, ivories, plate, and other luxuries not produced widely in Christian Europe. They were extremely large sums for the times, though it is impossible to determine the precise value in modern terms. The vetus paria in about 1060, when it was being paid to Ferdinand of Leon, was worth around 10,000 aurei per annum. This was raised to 12,000 numos d'oro per annum when Sancho IV of Navarre acquired it. In 1075 Alfonso VI negotiated 30,000 mithqals from Granada, including 2 years' worth of arrears, parting the annual pariahs at around 10,000 mithqals, comparable to the vetus paria. The largest pariahs on record were those forced on the eastern taifas by Alfonso's vassal Rodrigo Diaz de Viva in 1089–91, during which period he took in 146,000 dinars. By comparison, a typical nobleman's ransom cost 500–1,000 aurei in contemporary Spain, and in Córdoba 400 horses or 70 human slaves were worth about 10,000 mithqals in the 1060s. From being among the poorest rulers in Europe, historian Richard Fletcher notes, quickly became among the richest, and the Kingdom of Leon Castile, in particular, acquired a reputation for inexhaustible wealth during the second half of the 11th century, due in large part to the receipt of pariahs. Works cited: Charles J. Bishko, 1980. Studies in Medieval Spanish Frontier History. London, Variorum reprints. Brian A. Catlows, 2004. The Victors and the Vanquished. Cambridge, Cambridge University Press. Thomas N. Bisson, 1986. The Medieval Crown of Aragon, A Short History. Oxford, Clarendon Press. Richard A. Fletcher, 1978. The Episcopate in the Kingdom of Leon in the 12th Century. Oxford, Oxford University Press. Jocelyn N. Hilgarth, 1976. The Spanish Kingdoms, 1250–1516, Volume 1. Oxford, Clarendon Press. Adam J. Costo, 2001. Making Agreements in Medieval Catalonia. Cambridge, Cambridge University Press. Bernard F. Riley, 1982. The Kingdom of Leon Castilla under Queen Urraca, 1109–1126. Princeton, Princeton University Press.